Hi guys, welcome to another video, and in this video we'll talk about useState. As React developers, we have used this quite a lot, right? And today let's try to understand what really happens when you use this hook. Good. Uh, if I write a simple syntax for this hook, it is something like this: useState, setState, and let's give it an initial value as initial value. So this is how a usual use state looks like, right? Uh, as you can see, it is giving me few things, right? The first thing whenever I'm using a use state is I am setting an initial value, right? We are setting an initial value. What is the second thing that you can see when I'm using a use state? It is returning something. It is returning something. What is it returning? It is returning this, right? A state and a set state. So it returns an array. What does this array contains? This array contains a value, right? The state value and a set state function. Then what does this function do? Okay, so the job of set state is basically to tell the React component that this specific component needs re-rendering with a different value, with a new value. So that is the job of setState. Uh, so it is doing one another job. It is re-rendering. So these three things are basically what a useState do. Okay. Let's try to create a polyfill for a useState, and then we will understand in depth of what I mean by all of this. Okay. So if I may write a polyfill for it, something like new value, right? For simplicity purpose, let's create a hook with an empty object. It's just for a simplicity purpose, okay? Now, let's understand the first point that it is setting an initial value. So, if there is no value, then we are setting an initial value. Okay. What is the next step? It is returning an array of dot value and a function, right? So let's create a function. Const set state new value. Sorry, function new value this now. Okay, what it does, it is setting up the value as new value, right? This is what it does. But we have used set state something like this, something like giving it a function, right? So how can we do that? We can do that by checking the type of new value, and if it is equals to a function, then we have to compute using our old value. Otherwise, have to put it the new value, right? So it is returning a function. So what is the third point? It is re-rendering. So let's just write. It is a bit complex in that, and we will get into the detail of it. But this is what the job of a usual set state is, right? To set an initial value, to return an array, and to re-render. So this is what a use state do. Okay. Before we get into the in depth of how it is re-rendering, let's understand one concept of fiber tree. Okay. Let me change it to I don't know. Yeah. Uh, yes, we are able to see it. Okay. So the concept is called fiber tree. Okay. React uses a structure called fiber tree, which what is the job of fiber tree? The job of fiber tree is to keep track of component state, props, references. All of these are contained in a fiber tree. Okay, cool. Then there's another concept of fiber node. Each tree has different nodes. So what does a fiber node contain? Fiber node's job is to keep track of all the hooks that have been used in a specific component. And it stores something like this. If I may have to write, for example, hook 1, 2, hook 3, right? So this is what it does. It keeps track of all the hooks that are being called in a specific order. The order cannot change. Remember that. Okay. And remember one more thing. That how it is storing. It is storing with the help of linked list. Yes, linked lists are being used to help store these values. Okay, let's understand it now. Here we are in a use. So whenever we are calling set state, what is happening? It is telling React that this specific fiber tree needs an update. And with the update, it tells that this hook needs a re-rendering. So it marks the fiber tree for update. Okay, what is the next thing that can happen? We may have heard the concept of reconciliation, right? Okay, the comparing of virtual DOM to real DOM and finding the changes using the diffing algorithm and then specifically checking which component to re-render. So reconciliation happens. And what happens after reconciliation? Rendering happen. And after rendering, changes are being committed. So this is what happens when we do the rendering part. And this is what usually happens when we use useState. It sets up an initial value, it returns an array of value and a set state function. That set state function helps in setting up the value as well as re-rendering the component. So this is what happens under the hood for when we use useState. I hope you guys enjoyed it and we will see in the next video. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Ta-da.